Hi everyone, this is The Depths. Today we are talking about Pokemon X and Y. I'll be the moderator. My name is Kyle Bossman. With me, I have Michael Huber.
Hello.
I have Ben Moore.
Hello.
And I have Michael Damiani.
Pokemon.
And we've all been playing Pokemon X or Y. And so I guess the first thing I want to cover with the three of you is how much Pokemon you've played in the past.
Do you want me to go?
Yeah, absolutely, go first.
Don't go.
Pokemon Red. I remember being in elementary school and just it sweeping the land of the elementary school.
Yeah.
Just Pokemon Red and then Pokemon Diamond are really the only two I ever played. I got back into it on DS. I was like, I haven't played Pokemon in so long. I want to
So
play.
you dropped off for a while.
So I dropped off for quite a while.
Then you hit a Diamond, but then you skip Black and White.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I remember I was talking to you in the office. I wanted to get back in again because it had been so long, and I was gonna get Black and White because I heard the story is so good.
Yeah.
And then you were like, X and Y,
Right,
it's
just
coming,
wait, dude.
it's
Wait
coming.
out,
So
wait
I
out.
waited, and now it's definitely worth the wait.
Ben, how about you? How many Pokemon games you play?
So, I stopped at Gold and Silver,
Oh, a long time ago.
but I feel like there were two things that happened to me that caused
This to
the
happen.
drop off. Like for a period of about like 2 years, like I lost parts of my childhood to Pokemon. Like I know everyone says they were obsessed with Pokemon, but it was to the point where I was so emotionally invested in Pokemon. Like I was so obsessed with it. Like I completed the Pokedex for both Red and Blue and Gold and Silver. Like you just have to stop at a certain point. And I finally got a holographic Charizard, and I put it in my backpack, and I was so excited to bring it to school.
Oh, no.
And I brought it to school,
Oh, no.
and I go at lunch, I open my backpack, and I'm like, where is it?
No.
Where's my holographic
Ben, no.
Charizard? Because I had mentioned it to these people. I was like,
Yeah.
guys, just wait until lunch. Check this out. Stole it.
What's with you getting things stolen? Didn't your bike just get stolen?
My bike just got stolen. It was a Charizard bike. Yeah, man.
And so that
Sucks.
that experience kind of like burned you off from the Pokemon forever, or at least until now.
That didn't help. I mean, I definitely got upset because I was like, Mom, give me another Charizard. She was like,
No way. No, you
The
didn't
other
deserve
thing,
it.
the other thing is I got to that point where I really liked this girl in 5th grade, and I was like, she's not gonna like me if I'm into Pokemon, and
Oh
so
my gosh. No
it was
way, dude.
It was erroneous.
What was her
I
first
should've
name?
known.
What was her first name?
Kyla.
Kyla.
We actually ended
Sounds
up
like a
dating.
Pokemon.
You ended up dating
Yeah,
Kyla?
yeah.
Did she not like any video games?
No, eventually. So one night,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm going off on
No,
such a
this is what
tangent.
the depths is about. We're getting into the depths of
so-
your history.
It was like, at this point, we were in 7th grade,
Yeah.
and it was like 3 a.m., and I was really, really tired. I was like, oh man, I'm having this amazing AIM conversation with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
I'm going to finally reveal that like I'm a giant video game nerd.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, so I'm playing through Wind Waker, and she's like, I love Zelda. And then that was the moment I fell in love, I think.
wow.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
But
but that was a moment at least.
that was a moment. Yeah, and then I came over once, and she was playing Age of Empires 1.
Dude,
And
Cool,
so
bro.
I was like,
Hardcore.
whatever.
That's cool.
This
Wow.
Yeah, and then she broke my heart, but it's all right.
On to Mr. Damiani.
Ouch.
How many Pokemon games have you played in
Every
your
single
lifetime?
A few.
A few?
Just a few. Okay, so I have
Okay.
a really, really different origin with Pokemon.
This is good.
It's kind of referenced by like the toys here, actually, because I actually got. Oh, okay. So technically, I got introduced to Pokemon by a friend in school in, I think, towards the late '90s. They actually had Pokemon Green. They had imported it, and they were Japanese.
Oh, those are cool
and they were
friends.
playing it before anyone knew what the heck it was in North America.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were like, "What are you playing back there? Like, what is this thing?" And she was trying to explain it to everybody, and we were like, "Okay, this is like really weird." And a few years later, boom, everyone's playing it, and we're like, "Well, what about the green color?" Like, oh, it's only blue and red here. I never actually played Pokemon when it first came out.
Were you too cool?
No, I was busy playing other Nintendo games,
That's not even that's not true.
but I was busy also watching Pokemon.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what I did.
Oh,
So
watching
I
is
actually
fun.
watched the show
Okay.
rather than, and I got all excited for the Pokemon the first movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I had that on DVD when it came out. And in college, I was showing that to people, and they were like, "Why do you have that in your collection?" And I was
Cool. What kind
like,
of friends are
"Yeah." They were
those?
like, "You have Pokemon the movie?" Like, yeah, I had some friends who were like kind of looked down on Pokemon like as a game and looked at it as a bit childish. So that probably, it's kind of hard to remember that accurately back then, but I do distinctly remember having a friend who showed it off before it came out here, and now realizing, going, dang, they had that like then.
Yeah.
But I watched like the cartoon series for a while, all the crappy 4Kids stuff, and then I didn't actually start playing the games until Diamond and Pearl.
Whoa, that's a weird one to hop in on.
I started on the DS.
Oh,
So
man.
Diamond was
And it was
hyped
actually-
when it came out.
Yeah.
I forget, it wasn't for GT, it was for before here. I got sent a review copy for one of them, and that's why I played them. And then, for whatever reason, when I was here at GT, first game I ever reviewed was Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Time. And
You got to GameTrailers.
Yes.
It's like, okay, I'm an employee
And they
now.
give me that.
And it's like, here you go. Here's
and that was
the-
my first review, and I was like, this dungeon crawler, this roguelike, and I'm like, what is this? I was like, this
Yeah.
isn't Pokemon at all. Like,
No, it's
but some
not.
people really love it, but I was like, I don't really like this game. Like, where's like, can I review like regular Pokemon or something?
You
Like,
got
I
there
love that.
eventually. You
So
did-
yeah, like
yeah.
Platinum was the first one I like reviewed, but I played Diamond and Pearl. I played Platinum. Then I experienced Gold and Silver with Heart Gold and Soul Silver,
Which is great.
and it was great to see like the whole debate of like superior Silver versus like horrible Gold, where like the people like
Yeah.
when the sales charts came out, people were
Yeah.
like, yeah, superior Silver confirmed and stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize the whole you fight Red, or the original trainer, in the end, like till then.
Yeah.
And it was still surprising because I had no idea that was coming up.
What a cool thing to find out for yourself. That's really fun.
And
yeah.
on DS,
Yeah.
because I like didn't follow Pokemon communities at
Yeah.
all until semi recently. And then so from Diamond Pearl on, I've played all of the new releases essentially.
Cool.
And I think I played Gale of Darkness back in the day on GameCube.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was one of those people who did not want to play Pokemon as much, probably because it was on portables, and I wanted a console Pokemon. And every time I saw a new handheld one come, I was like, and
be
they
frustrating,
and they
yeah.
would release two of them. I'm like, this is such a gimmick. Why are they doing this? Like, why don't they just release one on console so I could like play this great, console game? And they never did that. And I think I kind of held an unfair bias against it until I actually played. I was like, oh, now I kind of get why they're like portable.
Yeah, like,
Pokemon
Big
Rumble
SP.
was the N64 one, right?
Pokemon Rumble.
Or not Rumble, the one Pokemon Arena,
Oh, that's Pokemon Stadium.
Pokemon Stadium. That's
Yeah,
it.
yep.
Oh my god.
Pokemon
So
Stadium,
good.
Pokemon Stadium 2.
All right,
best.
and just so you guys know, I've played every single one.
Really?
Just so we're clear on
To
on our
completion?
backgrounds.
Have you,
Yeah,
have you
yeah.
always defeated the Elite Four?
Yeah, absolutely. You can't play that game and not defeat
Yeah.
it.
Kyle Bosman, I'm impressed.
Yeah, well, that's my game. I really like Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because I've technically played them all now too, but I
Yeah.
played them out of order.
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
went back and played the originals just because of like Pop Fiction stuff. I
Exactly,
was
yeah,
forced
yeah,
to go
yeah.
back and play the old ones.
Yeah.
So it was kinda-
Forced.
well,
It's not forced, but yeah.
well, it was required, but
Has
it was
good reason to.
it was a pleasure. Except sometimes some of the stuff I had to do was not a pleasure. But
Okay,
yeah,
so starting this game, like, what to you feels like different? What feels new? What were you surprised by? Just like hopping into Pokemon X and Y.
the title screen,
Title screen's great.
super
great.
dramatic, like the giant Y forming after the logo. I was like, damn,
I feel like
why? It's a letter, no more colors.
It's huge. We're not
awesome.
going back to colors from here. Like, how can you?
I feel like this is very superficial of me, but I really like that you can customize your trainer.
That's not superficial. That's absolutely not.
Because with both Black and White 2 and Black and White, I kind of fiddled around with, but I was like, I don't like the look of either the guy or the girl. That was just a personal thing.
Yeah.
But now, I feel like I have a lot more ownership of it, and it's just little stupid things that I really fell in love with. I think I spent like a half hour last night making my PR video, and I'm like, I don't know why this is in here, but it's so much. I'm having a lot of fun, and like I have my favorite Pokemon Squirtle with me, and he's like jumping up and down in my video, and I don't know, just it made me more invested than I think other Pokemon games have.
No, I think that's fair. I think a lot of what Pokemon is about is trying to make you invested in these creatures who aren't real, but feel real. And to put yourself in the game, or at least change who your character is, sort of adds to that. And you give them nicknames.
Definitely.
Give every character you want like a nickname.
It
and that
definitely,
adds-
it
Go ahead.
definitely makes me like the whole customization. It does put me more in the world, and
Yeah.
I was talking a little bit about it with you earlier. I only played really Red and Diamond, so I feel like a tourist in this game. Like I'm going around the land, like seeing all these new Pokemon, seeing all the new towns and areas, and I want to just explore everything.
And it feels like that. It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you all think about experience share?
I think it's great.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Do you not like it?
No, I really like it.
Okay.
I think I know where we're going with this.
Where do you think we're going with this?
I like having that item. So I read up on some of the. So people were like tweeting, I think you and me, Kyle, about they wanted us to discuss experience share in some capacity because some people had written like really long like blog entries analyzing the experience share system in Pokemon XY versus how it worked in previous games. And just in a nutshell, like when you have experience share turned on, all of your Pokemon in your party, whether they fought or not, get half the experience that you earned from.
Right.
Correct,
Whereas in the past it was just one Pokemon.
A single Pokemon can only get that, and players are complaining that it kind of like breaks the experience a bit. And when you try and counter the argument, well, you can turn it off. They're like, well, I want to do the old experience share system where I only give it to one specific Pokemon.
Just baloney.
To which you know what? If you want to make it work, actually, just remove all the Pokemon from your party you don't want, and keep the ones that you want to use experience share. If you want to be that tedious about it, then go through that tedious process of making it work. It would have been probably simple if you could like apply which Pokemon do you want to apply it to. Like if you turned it on individually, that's probably a really easy add. But I like it. Like Pokemon games have been incredibly slow in the past.
Yeah.
The battles, the first thing I would do is I'd watch the battle animations in the new game, and then I see what it looks like. I would turn all those off. I'm like, just do the hits. I do like that in Fire Emblem as well because I can't stand the battles being like dragged out like that too long.
Right.
And even with that on in the old games, it just felt like going down Route 5. Oh, this is taking forever. Like
what
the random encounters.
What it does with the new experience share is like this thing where the idea of like you just have one Pokemon that you only level up and that one becomes the most powerful thing on your team and everything gets left behind. It changes. It's designed to fix that. It's designed to like keep everyone pretty relevant, which is
it's working for me. Like I feel like you're absolutely right. In previous games, the old system would encourage discrimination where I'm like, I'm already invested in these 1 or 2 or 3 Pokemon. I'm just going to use them for everything and screw everything else. But there are certain times now where I'm like, okay, well, they're all kind of around the same level, and I think this guy would actually be more effective here, and I'll try him out. And it's just naturally encouraging experimentation more. And I'm like, oh, I actually really like this thing about this guy. I'm going to put him in my team. And when I capture new Pokemon, I'm like, well, I don't have to go through the tedious process of switching him out, so maybe I'll give him a shot. And it's just it's let me be, I guess, a lot more lenient, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it just makes it more accessible. You can like use so many more Pokemon to fight.
Yeah, and give weird guys a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that about it.
I think it also changes the emphasis on, in the older games, when you only had EXP share on like one type of Pokemon, when you reached a gym you couldn't overcome, you had one or two options. You either went and grinded forever, or you had to go catch Pokemon in the nearest route to have Pokemon that were on a comparable level.
Right.
But now, because of EXP share, you're not just catching random Pokemon. Your Pokemon are already properly leveled because of that. It encourages you to diversify your team to make a better team to overcome the gym, rather than I just go brute force capture high enough level Pokemon so I could survive through this dungeon.
Yeah, it's funny you say that.
I think it remedies that a bit.
Yeah.
Did you just have that?
No, I just saying about the team building. It's like I immediately, with the XP share, I was like, all right, I'm gonna have a fire, I'm gonna have an electricity, I'm gonna have a water, I'm gonna have a bug. So now I just have my team of diverse Pokemon, and
so
everyone
we have a consensus here. We all like experience share in the game.
I have a question
Absolutely.
for you guys.
Go ahead.
I think you're all more recently into Pokemon than I am. I'm just kind of getting back into it with X and Y. But a complaint that I'm hearing kind of across the board is that, despite the niceties of the experience share and the convenience that brings and encouraging a better team, you don't really need to build an optimized team. The game is pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not very far in it, but I hear that kind of continues all the way through. And I was reading, there was this Kotaku article where they said, look, if you're finding the game too easy, try this. And it was like, you pick your starter, and then the rule is like, every area you go into, you can only catch the first Pokemon you see, whatever it is, and
that's
use that.
basically a Nuzlocke challenge.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. I forgot the name of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that sounds really cool. Once I play through Pokemon Y, that's something I want to give a shot, and I almost wish that was like a game option. And
hero mode, basically.
Yeah,
Pokemon had a hero mode.
Because I I actually don't mind personally how easy it is because I'm just kind of having fun going around trying to catch everything, like taking in the sights, just kind of admiring its charm, I guess. But I do really think it would be a good idea to have like some sort of hero mode or some sort of additional challenge.
I'll tell you a weird thing. Black and White 2 had hero mode.
What was it?
It was like a harder mode. You could replay the game through a second time, and everything would be harder.
Okay, that's
That's always-
bizarre.
That's always been my biggest gripe with Pokemon. Even before I got this one, I was like, Kyle, man, every Pokemon, I use one Pokemon the entire game and just use one move the entire game.
I don't think you can do that in this
I have
one.
my fire Pokemon one-shotting water Pokemon.
That's why they made experience share. That's why they gave you lots of legitimate Pokemon.
But you just finished it. How did you feel about the difficulty overall?
Basically, I'm really good at the game, and I feel like it rewards me for being prepared. You know what I mean? Because I didn't lose one battle the whole time. You know, but it's like I never felt like it was just like, oh, you're coddling me. You're making this too easy. It's like I prepared my Pokemon, and I should win this battle. The Elite Four final battles are some really good stuff there. And,
Really?
Yeah, there's just.
Yeah, the difficulty ramped up a little bit.
It gets intense later on. I want to talk about everyone's favorite Pokemon in this game, and it could still be an old Pokemon that you still like love from your childhood. But I want to talk about who you're digging on your team. Damiani, you first. Who do you like?
I'll bring up my-
You don't even remember?
Pokemon.
Like one doesn't spring to your mind immediately?
in my team right now.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I've always loved like Mew the most
Yeah.
because I like cats.
You don't have Mew in your team right now.
I
What are
have
you talking about?
Mewtwo.
Oh, okay, that counts.
So does it? Because I never technically had a Mew
Yeah.
in this game yet. I've only had Mewtwo, which you get from the certain part at a certain point in the game. For people who haven't played it yet,
Spoilers.
just okay. So I've always liked Pikachu, and I did like how in this game, in one of the early areas, you can catch a Pikachu.
Yeah.
And
Basically like
they,
Forbidden
try,
Forest.
they try and say
Yeah.
it's like it's a rare Pokemon and for that area, but it's really not. So I was really happy to
Yeah,
have.
it's like a 5% chance of finding a Pikachu. It's pretty rare.
It felt like I was getting it way more, but it just probably was just how the random number generator was rolling for me.
Yeah.
But I like Pikachu, and again, it's because I watched the show, so I was always like, yeah, Pikachu's the best.
So did you take Pikachu all the way to the Elite Four?
Yes, I did.
That's
But
incredible.
what sucked was he was like my weakest Pokemon for the
Of course,
longest
because
time.
you wouldn't let it evolve.
Yeah, I don't want him to evolve into Raichu. Screw that crap. He's never evolving. So, and then like one of the things I loved people pointing out was when you get the OG Pokemon you can select from.
Yeah, oh yeah. that's
Yes,
pretty
that
cool.
moment.
That moment's great.
And yes, and so I picked Charmander and rolled up to Charizard.
Yeah.
And then people were laughing when they saw I gave Fly to Charizard because you haven't always been able to do that.
Yeah.
And people thought I was just doing it, for the fact that you could do it. And I was like, at the point, I was like, well, he has Mega Evolution in my thing, so he just kind of rolls everything when he's Mega Evolved.
Yeah.
Especially with Scorch, and I was like, this is like over. Like no one's gonna survive that.
Yeah. So you didn't even need that.
I
move
just need
slot, is
someone
what
to
you're saying.
fly, and I gave it to him, and I was like, it's not a bad move. It's
Yeah,
okay.
it's okay.
And, but of the new ones, I picked the Froakie,
Oh
and he
man.
became Gray Ninja.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
we got-
so good.
Okay, so is this a Does anyone? I want to hear everyone's thoughts real quick on. Do you think his evolved form, if you've seen it, of Gray Ninja,
Yeah.
is that a scarf or is it his tongue making a scarf because he's a frog?
It's his tongue making a scarf.
Are you sure?
I'm nearly positive.
I
This
want
is
to
like
choose to believe that it's
this
his
is
tongue.
This is a big mystery right now.
Is it? Are
To me,
they talking about
to
it
me.
on message boards?
No,
Oh,
they're
okay.
not.
All
No
right.
one is. I'm just talking about it.
We got to read the Pokedex entries, I guess. But yeah, I think that's such a cool idea of like implementing a frog's tongue into its scarf to make like a frog ninja is such a cool idea. The starters in this case, I feel like there's no wrong one to pick.
Absolutely not.
In the past, it's like, oh, I got mine evolved into the stupid thing. In the past, like, it's Snivy evolves into a big dumb snake, and I'm like, oh, come on. This time, all three of them turn into something really cool where you're not like disappointed in what you got, and I think that's a pretty cool thing. Ben, what's your favorite? Who do you like most on your team?
Unequivocally, my favorite Pokemon of all time is Squirtle. There's just something about Squirtle. He's just the most adorable little dude ever.
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like, yeah, I just like him. It's hard to explain. I also was a big fan of Chespin
Chespin's great.
as well. Somebody made this really cool GIF where it looked like he was in a Disney animation, and it just seemed to fit. But I wish I could articulate why I love Squirtle so much. I think, okay, did you ever watch the anime The Squirtle Squad?
Absolutely.
I think that is what pushed it over the top for me.
So he's got these sunglasses, the
yeah,
angular sunglasses.
man, it's so great.
And then Ash wins the guy over, and he's like, "All right, I'll join your team." I used to be the leader of a Squirtle gang.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it's like a 1950s like leather jacket
Yeah.
Squirtle gang. Like
Yeah.
how that is just the best thing. you
Yeah,
know?
that's pretty cool. Huber, who's your favorite Pokemon?
Of all times, Snorlax. It's gotta be.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
caught a Snorlax.
I
You
caught
got
it.
one. They
I
gave
was
you
like,
that
I'm
opportunity.
capturing this thing. Threw like 40 balls at it. It was just like, I'm not giving up.
Snorlax, you can probably take the leap for. He's a pretty legit dude through and through. I
His
like
little
Snorlax.
description too. It's like he eats 880 pounds of food a day and then promptly goes back to sleep.
I want to.
so cool.
I want to show you guys my favorite because I don't know if you've seen him yet. This guy, his name.
Whoa! It's like a
His name is like Barbackle,
Power Ranger morph.
So-
and we'll show him on screen.
My
Yeah, check out
first
this guy.
encounter-
Look at this guy.
Jeez.
My first encounter with this specific Pokemon was reading the NeoGAF
yeah.
thread last night, and they're like, "This guy is so ugly."
That's what they said about Barbackle. Barbackle. I don't even know how to
Well-
say its name. They're so wrong in this instance. Come on, that
Barbacle.
thing is Barbacle. That thing is
That
so
thing's
great.
really
What
cool.
What do you like about this guy?
Okay, so what I love about it is first I cracked a rock open using Rock Smash, and I found this little thing that was I forget what it's called, the prior version of it, and I'm like, a lot of Pokemon you catch and you think this is going to evolve into something great, and most of the time it's not true. But I really had faith in this thing, and so I kept it on the team, and it wasn't that strong. And then when it evolves, and you just see it's like it becomes a huge form. He's got hands sticking off from all directions. I was so pumped that like my faith, my hopes was like came to something just so great as Barbacle.
This is fantastic.
Yeah, that's the feeling. The why is my favorite is probably that feeling of being rewarded for
That's so
just
cool.
having hope for him.
I felt that way in Red and Blue with Magikarp and Gyarados.
Yeah.
Like, what a cool...
Oh my
exactly.
gosh.
Yeah, where you get rewarded for like hanging on to him. Yeah.
This is like the most obvious thing to say in the world, but I just having not played Pokemon in so long, that feeling you get when you really, really want a Pokemon and you've been walking through that tall grass for like 25 minutes and then
Yep.
and then you finally see it. That Pokemon that you want so badly, and you're like, I need to do just enough damage to it to where I can capture it and then throw the Pokeball. Like, I know it's been there since the beginning, but it's still so good.
that rush of catching a Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's like gambling, almost. Seriously, just gives me a feeling of gambling. You keep throwing those Pokeballs, and when it misses, it pops out at the last second. You're just like, oh,
I
and then you
I
throw
actually
another
don't,
and another, and then you finally capture it, and you're like,
yeah. The game can be such a dick because it has that line of text where it's like at the very last possible second it bursts out of the Pokeball and it's like, oh, it looked like you were gonna
It was
get
so
it.
close.
I always
Yeah.
read that. I always read that in a sarcastic voice, like the game is insulting me. Like, sorry,
almost
buddy.
had it.
That was like the, what was it? I came across Moltres after I'd done the special Pokemon. that
Moltres
took
is
the-
in X and Y. That's not a spoiler, I guess. That's awesome. That's really cool.
So I had just
Yeah.
caught in Mewtwo,
yeah.
which I went through the exact experience you two were describing, which eventually it was timer balls that did it for.
No
It
way.
took like
I saw you do
it
that.
took,
That was
took
insane.
3 or 4 tries. And in that battle, like I was trying to get him down to red health essentially, and then I used one of my weaker Pokemon who had sleep on them to sleep him, and then I would spam timer balls. And when he woke up, I tried to do that. But then it was just a war of attrition, and he was winning. And I was like, he's gonna run out of moves. He's just gonna like kill himself.
Right.
So I was like, I'm just gonna spam timer balls from now on, and then it worked. I actually got close on a quick ball at the beginning, like tossing it out. It did the whole 3 thing, and then like, nope.
Yeah, I mean, there's still like
Really?
some chance. Like you could catch that Mewtwo with a Pokeball if
Yes.
you got lucky.
And it was
you know,
great
which is crazy.
because I remember I hit like run by accident because I was doing left or right on the D-pad.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to go to bag or Pokemon, and
Yeah.
it went to run for some reason at one
Yeah.
time, and I clicked it. I was like, "No, you better not run away!" And
Yeah.
it didn't. I was like,
Oh, Mewtwo wouldn't let you run?
"No!" It said you couldn't run away. Like
Nice,
you
yeah.
had the ability, but said you didn't successfully run away. I was like,
You're not running from you.
Can we talk about
But
as Damiani was trying to catch Mewtwo. Like, it was an event
Oh my
in the
God.
office. It
There
was
were people
incredible.
surrounding this
Yeah,
journey?
like he's
Kind
in
of
this
s-
really intense battle with Mewtwo, and like the whole office is huddled around the capture station, just with like bated breath, waiting for him to capture Mewtwo. And I was like, at that moment, I was like, I need to play Pokemon X and Y.
You know what's so funny though is I feel like this game in particular really honors its legacy. It's great Mewtwo is still in this game. You know what I mean? Mewtwo was in that first game, and they kind of recognize, oh, Mewtwo's great. He's sort of an icon.
Well, just letting you pick the original 3.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's it, yeah.
I hadn't played in so long, and it made me feel at home right away. It's like
Good
the
point.
original
Yeah,
3
yeah.
are right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that Mewtwo,
Yeah.
after that epic battle to catch him, I walk to a grass area, and instead of the screen just flashes white. I'm like, wait, what? This is not how the battle transition. Like, it just flashes white.
Yeah.
Ambush.
And then there's Moltres, just right there. And I have Mewtwo as my lead Pokemon now. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm so glad I have my most powerful Pokemon now in the lead spot. Instantly runs away before he can do anything.
Weird.
And like I haven't read up on it since, but when I looked it up, everyone was saying like those 3 legendaries were insta running away before you could do anything.
Oh, you knew that quick
So
ball.
how do you
Like, there's-
counter that?
Wait, you couldn't even like throw a ball
Couldn't
at
do
it?
anything. It just instantly said it ran off.
Oh,
So
you know
how
what?
do you counter that?
So what that might be is actually it'll put it in the Pokédex for you, and so you can like search for the area of where Moltres is. That's how those stupid dogs in Silver used to work. There's so many weird little things in Pokemon.
Imagine
That's
if it
what
was a
I-
shiny one and it ran off like that.
Yeah, I'd be so mad.
That'd be
So now
Depressing.
that I'm back on the Pokemon train,
Yeah.
I say this, the grand ambitions here. I want to complete the Pokedex in X and Y. That may not happen, but I am interested in playing more Pokemon after X and Y. What would be the best one to go back to? I heard a lot of positive things about Soul Silver and Heart Gold. Would that, and I like the Heart Gold and Silver a lot. Would that be the point to return to, or?
I'm on board for that. I'd say go back to Soul Silver. Don't play Heart Gold.
Is the Pokewalker thing cool?
Is the
I know this is a little off topic,
Oh,
but
it's
is the
not. No. Most of the benefits of that are sort of they don't mean anything.
Okay.
But you know, it's just a cool, dumb little thing to have in case you like dumb things. But yeah, Soul Silver has a vibe to it. It feels like thematically just on board for itself. It all seems like it's all part of the same game. A lot of what Pokemon can do, and probably has in a couple of other games, is kind of like throw lots of things in there, and just like, oh, now there's this little area, and then where these people who don't make sense or should be here are here. And what's nice about Soul Silver, it's just like this complete, tight, compact game. And also, there's a really cool thing that happens after you beat the Elite Four.
I do actually sort of feel that way about X and Y a little bit. It's not terrible by any means, but it's like, check out this new thing and this new thing and this new thing, and we're going to introduce this character
Yeah.
and this character, and the pacing doesn't always seem to be as tight as I would like. It's not a huge issue, just something I thought I would
So I
mention.
feel like Pokemon in particular has to strike a weird balance in that it's sort of like it is PvP. It's sort of a PvP game, but it's also like an RPG that needs its own story. It's insane about how many like balls this poor game has to juggle, and not only that, but it has to be compatible with games from 10 years ago. Like, you can still bring in your guys from Ruby and Sapphire through a certain process, but those guys can be in this game eventually.
Really?
Yeah.
So cool.
So,
I didn't
like,
know that, actually.
I know,
Carrying on the legacy.
carrying on legacy, but also trying to make new things despite having to be like chained to that, I think is like the true struggle of Pokemon. I don't like envy its designers at all. I think that'd be the hardest thing.
Wait, Ruby and Sapphire can come into this one?
Yeah,
I
so
thought that's why people wanted the rumors of the remake were because
it'd be
can't bring
tricky. So you would
those-
need an old DS that's got a Game Boy Advance slot, and then you put in both the DS cart and the Game Boy Advance on the DS
Okay.
and stuff like that.
I just remember the Generation 1, Generation 2
They want that remake so
like
bad.
stuff.
Yeah. Final question. This is directed directly toward Mr. Damiani.
Okay.
I remember pretty early when you were playing this game. We're a little inside baseball here. You said, "I think I'm going to give this game a 7."
0.5.
7.5. You
Yes.
ended up giving the game a 9. I am ultra curious about what changed from that moment where you said this is a 7.5 game to where this is a 9 game.
Because all Pokemon games start off kind of really slow. I don't generally have a good time with them at the beginning. I just get. I need to get over that hump, And that's why we don't review games like based on like, playing an hour or something.
Yeah,
That would be
yeah, exactly.
And actually, I wanted to defend something here. We had really bullshit embargo restrictions for this game. And if I had stuck to, I can't talk about anything past, we can't show anything past the 3rd dungeon. We can't talk about anything past the 5th dungeon. And gyms, not dungeons.
Yeah,
but,
just to make clear to everyone what that
Yeah.
means, embargo stuff. Basically, when we're given a review copy for a game, a list of things that you're not allowed to talk about before this date is what you receive,
yeah,
right?
otherwise
from
the Nintendo ninjas come and
Assassinate
are
us.
super effective
Yeah.
against your company's bottom line. And you go away.
super effective against your company's bottom. All right. So anyway, we're all
so
caught
anyway,
up.
like
yeah.
if I had only written a review based on what we could have talked about, in a lot of cases, like not only is it like crap because we can't talk about the whole game, but then it's like curtailing my experience. Like some people only played to like that point in the game, like, well, I can't talk about anything past this, so why am I gonna bother to play? It would have been like a worse review because in this case it was up to like the 2nd gym. Like that
Yeah.
gap between the 1st and 2nd gym like takes a long time.
It's almost weird how long that
And
gap
it felt
is,
to me like you were just kind of meandering
Yeah.
through that phase, and it wasn't really going anywhere. Like it teased like mega evolutions, and it teased some other stuff, and you got like, now you get like a few other items to make your life easier, but you're still like, well, where are we going with this? I didn't, but after the 2nd dungeon, especially after the 3rd, I keep saying dungeon, after the 3rd gym,
Yeah.
things really picked up, and
They
that's
do,
when I was
yeah.
like, all right, things are coming together, and like the majority of this game is like really good. And I was like, all right, so it had a slow thing. And I get it because every time they put a new Pokemon out on a new handheld, they kind of want to like walk people through it a little bit and not completely overwhelm them.
Your Bens and your Mics over here who are
Yeah,
just like, I haven't played
I
this.
Screwing
I
up for
understand that.
everybody.
I do
Sorry.
wish I do wish there was a way to like tackle like having both, like an opening for veterans who like I kind of know this, like this give me a
Yeah,
more
yeah.
bare
They
bones.
should
Which is
honestly
back.
make-
They should have
make
that hero mode.
They should honestly make
Something
a
like
hero
that
mode
would have been
Pokemon.
nice.
Yeah.
That could have definitely helped it. But once it got to that point, over that hurdle, it was just really good throughout the rest of the game. And I know Pokemon games don't like they always have. There's your personal quest to defeat the Elite Four and become the next Pokemon champion. There's the storyline about like the team whatever and their plans for whatever world domination or saving Pokemon or
Yeah.
whatever. And then sometimes there might be like a third story, like Black and White started to do like a little bit more of an actual
Yeah,
like.
with the N and all that, yeah.
But I felt like Pokemon X and Y, once they introduced the story about the whole the thing that happened like thousands of years ago, where the guy
Yeah.
used like the device and it killed a lot of like people and
Yeah,
like,
it gets heavy, dude. So I don't
that
think you're there
story,
yet,
but
it
like
gets heavy,
the whole
yeah.
thing, like he did all this thing to revive his Pokemon who died in a war.
Yeah.
and they're showing like the
Not too much spoilers.
yeah.
Okay, well, all right.
Okay, we'll stop there. But like, the point was they introduced this kind of like halfway through the game. It doesn't really come up till Mega Evolutions are explained, and then it goes away to like the end of the game. And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? They should try doing more of this, like giving a little like.
I love it. I love that they put some weird story stuff in there.
And
I
kinda-
really like the teasing of the Mega Evolutions. That
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
that right now for me, like I'm only at the 3rd gym.
So you're like thinking forward to it. You're
Yeah,
like, I
I'm
need
just
to-
like, what is up with this Mega Evolution? They keep teasing it. Fossils, getting
Yeah.
these like hunting down fossils in caves. This is really intense.
yeah.
The other thing I think was at that point I was getting frustrated with the controls in the city, Lumio City,
Oh yeah.
like that. The camera's like way too close for
Yeah,
over the
just
shoulder.
Always use the taxi.
So I was
is what
getting, I was
learned.
getting
Yeah.
really frustrated in that part,
Yeah.
and I wasn't. I'm one of the people who's like anti skates. Like I was not having a good time getting around with them. I was like bumping into way too much stuff.
Yeah.
I just switched over to the bicycle once I finally got like forget the skates. I'm
Yeah.
going to bicycle, and I didn't like how the analog stick was always activating the skates, and then you had to use the D-pad. Like
Yeah.
there were these small things that were just kind of like compounding at the very beginning, and then finally like everything found its rhythm, and then I got more into like the sub like systems, like the whole super training and messed around more with the player search system. I was like,
Oh,
whoa, there's like a lot of good stuff here, and like I hadn't seen in the first like few hours, and now I'm messing around with it. So it was more of like that's kind of I experienced more of the game and got a better understanding of how it all worked. I was like, all right, the beginning was the best, but like this other stuff is like really good now. And like I can't really like penalize this game for like that much for having a slow
slow start,
opening.
yeah.
Like especially when the majority of the game is so good and like.
And it's weird
yeah.
calling it a JRPG, but it essentially is. And
Totally is.
so many JRPGs have a slow start and then just bam, 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 get crazy.
Yeah, it gets crazy. Pokemon X and Y is a great game. I hope that you at home give it a shot. Well, I don't know why you would watch this if you haven't already. Anyway, that is all the time we have for the depths. Thank you to all my guests. Wait, do you have something to say down there, Pikachu?
Pikachu is sad. Yep. So these are from Baskin Robbins.
No, they're not. That's
Yes,
from a cake?
They were cake decorations from like 1998, and I stole them when I was working. Because these were so cool looking, and no one would order.
Yeah.
No one ordered Pokemon cakes. I only had 2 sets of them.
Oh my gosh.
And then like, I only did it for a summer job, and it was
Yeah.
about to end. And someone finally ordered one when they had 1 set left. And I was like, nope, come with me. I'm taking you home with me.
Throw some Pokeball out.
That is hilarious.
Like they had like these things where you're supposed to stick in, and they stick into the cake as decorations. And then this was like,
And you stole it from Baskin Robbins.
and then this was like from Nintendo Power, the catalog they used to put out on Nintendo Power, the supply catalog.
Oh, cool.
You could order stuff, and this came with something. So it's a Pokeball that turns into
That's not just a Pokeball, it's a Master Ball
Master Ball that
that
turns
becomes a
into.
Gengar.
Gengar is so
Gengar,
awesome.
Gengar.
So
I love Gengar.
Gengar is
Yeah.
officially the Master Pokemon.
Y'all gotta see Mega Gengar. He's so great.
Mega Gengar.
Mega Gengar is just owned.
See, there's so many Pokemon that I don't know. I haven't really like dug into what Pokemon are evolving into in this one, like the
Yeah.
new ones.
Yeah.
So that's part of the fun.
We gotta stop doing it. I was trying to conclude, and then we got caught up in Pokemon again. Anyway, for Michael Huber, for Ben Moore, for Michael Damiani, I'm Kyle Bossman. And thank you for watching. And please watch the depths and everything on GameTrailers.com. Goodbye.
Awesome.
Cool.